Crypto regulations. I'm hearing a lot about the regulations. I'm hearing a lot about China cracking down on cryptocurrency, specifically miners over there in China. There's a lot of talk going on, and I wanted to just kind of summarize my thoughts on it and what I'm doing to prepare for the possible regulation of crypto. Notice how I didn't say currency. One day, we will realize that it is crypto assets. I always say that on the channel. I say it pretty much every time I bring up cryptocurrency because I want to stop saying cryptocurrency. See, I just said it right before saying it there. Anyway, they're crypto assets. They're defined as assets. What is an asset versus a currency? A currency is something I can pay for something without a taxable event. The only way I can do that currently with crypto is if I buy crypto and then use it to buy something else immediately. So it was bought at the same price or less than what I paid for the next item, which doesn't make any financial sense at all because you have to pay the exchange. There's a bunch of fees there. It doesn't make sense as a currency right now. So while it's a great concept, having a quick cryptocurrency to pay for things, it's a concept and it's not a reality. It's only a reality once it is able to be adopted and the governments allow it. So that's where this talk kind of starts in a way, and why it has turned me into such a Bitcoin maximalist. The reason for that is simple. If they are all assets, which they are, if we are having the possible crackdown, the possible regulations on crypto, where would you rather, of all the cryptos, where would you want to be if regulation was imminent? You know, surely you wouldn't want to be in a bunch of altcoins on Robinhood. You know, if you think that you own those coins when you're buying them on Robinhood, first look into the history of Robinhood and what they do to rob from the poor and give to the rich, in my personal opinion. Everything in my videos is my personal opinions, not to be taken as financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, disclaimer. That's not the place you want your crypto to be. I'm seeing individuals with literally over $1 million in Dogecoin on Robinhood. It's not on a cold storage. Statistically, Bitcoin has more coins off of networks in cold storage than any other coin by a landslide. So when we're talking about that, that's the first reason. If there was major regulations on cryptocurrency, keep in mind, that's what they would regulate first. They're not so much afraid of assets. They're afraid of disruptions in currency. Why is XRP constantly going through all of this different court cases and everything? It's because they're trying to be a currency. That is what I think would be the main target of regulations. So not to pinpoint whatever the newest news is or whatever country is, you know, going on cryptocurrency or regulating on cryptocurrency. See, here I am saying currency. It's got crypto assets. I want to talk about just the overall picture and summarize it for my audience. I really appreciate you all being here. Really appreciate you smashing that like button and subscribing if you find this information valuable. The first reason, and this is really the best, it's one of the best reasons, is that Bitcoin is actually more off of networks than any other coin. Second, which is the other large issue, is it is actually considered an asset, and it is the best, the most stable blockchain and actually considered an asset by the Fed. If you heard Jerome Powell speaking on Bitcoin, he goes, yeah, you know, it's a digital gold thing. You know, we're not really concerned about it. It's whatever. If you have a currency, say Dogecoin really succeeds, right? And it gets to, let's say, the same market cap as Bitcoin. Pretty big, pretty long shot, but I never thought it was going to get to 90 billion at one point, which it did. Excuse me. If it did, you know, skyrocket, then what do you think the Fed and all the different governments would think if another currency was popping up and calling it a currency and trying to be the new currency? You see where I'm going with this? Not only that, but this currency is being held in Robinhood and exchanges. Most Dogecoin holders do not know how to take their Dogecoin and put it into a cold storage wallet. So you are going to be the number one target for regulations, and they're going to know exactly where it is. There's not Dogecoin miners in the same way where there's Bitcoin miners spread out around the world, and Bitcoin is so well established. It has the strongest blockchain that there is more Bitcoin held in cold storage off of networks than any other coin. So those two things are so overlooked, in my opinion, when we're looking at regulations. First, I mean, it's great to have some precious metals, great to have some collectibles, tangible items, but if a regulation crackdown was coming, I want to be in Bitcoin. Myself, I want to be in Bitcoin. I feel that the biggest crackdown on regulation will be on the currencies or the altcoins trying to be a currency. It only makes so much sense. Why is China specifically cracking down right now? In my personal opinion, not to be taken as financial advice, I think that there's an opportunity to be a reserve currency. The reserve currency right now. And the dollar, in my personal opinion, I'm watching that USD index real close, and it's just teetering. I don't know if I'm sure everybody in my audience has been watching it as well, but that dollar index is a very good gauge of what's happening in metals, what's going to happen in assets across the board. If the dollar index crashes, then you have a situation where it takes more dollars to buy the assets, to buy the tangibles. So if we're teetering on 90 right now on the dollar index, and it's already fallen, it had a break under 90 recently, and it's just teetering. I think it's like 90.08 cents. So it's just barely holding over 90, and it could break that key level and just start plummeting down 85, 80, 75 on the dollar index. If that happens, it's going to take more dollars to buy things. But not only that, but I think the reserve currency status is kind of up for grabs. And I personally believe the dollar will lose reserve currency status in the next 5 years. And that's not me trying to, it's just me being realistic. If you're going to dilute the currency as much as it's been diluted, and the leadership in regards to the monetary system is lacking, I think an economy like China's that is actually producing goods is going to look at a consuming economy like the United States and go, well, they, consume a lot. And then they're also the reserve currency. They're consuming, but they're not really producing. We're producing while they are consuming and printing and printing and printing more of their dollars while their citizens are worried about the dilution of the currency. You see the scenario that's playing out here? Personally, in my opinion, again, this is totally my opinion, could be completely wrong, just for educational, entertainment purposes. Disclaimer. Can never say enough of those, by the way. But anyway, I think that China sees Bitcoin as viable competition. If there is a possible reserve currency, how great would it be? Just even if you're for or against Bitcoin, let's just say if it was some other thing that was like, how great would it be if there was a reserve currency that was the same everywhere? There was no yen. There was no yuan. I think it's yuan. The way you pronounce it, I always mess that up. But the dollar, there's no CAD. There's no Australian dollar. There's no euro. There's one layer that is the same everywhere. That's what a reserve currency should be. Why did the U.S. get reserve currency status in the first place? It's a very easy history lesson. They said, our money's back to gold. You should trust us. Oh, wow, we'll trust you. Your money's back to gold. We're keeping the gold. The money's back to nothing now. 1971, they launched fiat currency. So that was Nixon, and that's pretty much how it went down. Saying it out loud is kind of wild to say. It's like, that's literally how the reserve currency status came to be. And then somehow for 50 years, it's been kept. That's why I think that in the near term, that's what this argument's all about. I think that's what this regulation crackdown on crypto is about. It's the different powers that be wanting to grab the reserve currency status. And the only real viable competition to be a reserve currency, in my personal opinion, is not the dollar. It's not China's currency. I don't want to mispronounce the yuan again, or, it's not Russia, but I think it would be Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is the perfect reserve currency. The perfect reserve asset should be the better way to say it. Because when I talk about the layers of money, I always see it as layers. It's like, wouldn't it be great if fiat currencies were here and they had to compete against each other, these fiat currencies, but there was just a layer that was a nice digital asset that kept it all in check and had nice checks and balances on everybody, and it wasn't controlled by any individual nation, and nations actually had to produce things to prove how good their economy is performing, and not just be able to go, let's just poof some money in there. That'll fix it. Let's poof some money in there. That'll fix it. Just a thought. But just to summarize again in this video, the reason I'm so big on Bitcoin, and I'm dabbling, I'm learning more about Cardano and Ethereum and all these different things and studying the altcoins, and there's some really viable projects out there. But the problem is, if we're talking about regulation, the crackdown is going to go immediately towards the altcoins that are trying to be a currency. That's the problem. If there's any takeaway from the way that Powell has been acting, it's that he doesn't care about digital assets, which they're all digital assets, but Bitcoin is the one he actually brought up and goes, it's just digital gold, it's whatever. That's what you want. You want them to look at you that way, that you're not trying to get in on their system of currency. So the way he talked about it, that was a big positive in my view. If they're going to crack down, they're going to crack down on these different altcoins that are trying to be a currency, in my personal opinion. Not only that, but they're going to know exactly where to search. How much Dogecoin is in Robinhood? 30% of it? Really? And they won't allow you to take it out? Really? Interesting. Seems like this has been a scenario that's played out over there. Anyway, I digress. That's pretty much all the things I wanted to talk about in this video. I got to get back to doing some clip videos because I was actually on YouTube a little bit ago, and I'm going through these clips on YouTube, and I'm like, oh man, an hour and 30-minute video. I mean, I don't know if I could do this right now. So we do these live streams on the channel, and so those can get kind of long sometimes. I got to get back to doing some shorter clips for you all. I hope that there was some valuable information here for you. All in all, I'm still going to be a Bitcoin maximalist, and I think there's nothing that's going to change that for me until I see what happens next with regulation. That's what I want to figure out, what happens next. Because if regulation really does crack down, they're going to know exactly where to search for these altcoins. They're going to go, okay, well, this exchange has that many. Robinhood has this much. They have this much. Okay, perfect. Go right after that. And meanwhile, you could have a situation. Could you imagine they crack down on, say, a altcoin that's being held on Robinhood? I won't pick any specific one. Say they crack down on one of them. XRP lately has been the one that's been majorly in the limelight. They could halt it, not allow you to do anything but sell it, like they've done in the past at Robinhood. Seems like a very rough scenario to be sitting on altcoins in Robinhood or in an exchange. Whereas myself and a lot of others, because Bitcoin has I don't want to say most, but much, much more by a landslide in cold storage than any other coin, and a much more established blockchain by a landslide than any other coin. So that's the scenarios that I see unfolding when we talk about regulation. So I'm not going to talk about the specifics right now of different regulations. I want to just talk about the whole thing and summarize my thoughts on it. Again, I hope that there was some valuable information for you. If there was valuable information, please do smash that like button. If there's some things that I missed out on, please throw a comment down below. We're all learning together, and I'm watching every single comment, and I'm learning a lot from you all as well. So please do make your voice heard. When you do make your voice heard, watch out for these imposter accounts. They have a tendency to come out at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I wake up to a bunch of trying to solicit, and they're imposter for my account. They use my picture and all my different things, and so I have to go through all of them and hide them and stuff. So watch out for that. That happens a lot lately on YouTube across all the different content producers. I'm seeing it everywhere, specifically in finance. So watch out for them. Again, if you would like to be a subscriber on the channel, would really love to have you as part of the channel. Please do click the subscribe down below. The next video is going to be about why I am so big on silver and Bitcoin right now. That's what I want to talk about, because a lot of people think I'm only talking about crypto and I'm only about Bitcoin now. I haven't lost a step when it comes to stacking silver. So thank you all for being here. See you at the next video. Signing out.